Welcome back, Bills fans, fans of the game, fans of turkey and football. Friends and family will feast tomorrow, but we had to get this episode in. You know the drill, baby. If you've been here before, we're going to do 5 things heading into the game tomorrow. And on the back end, as always, we'll give you our top 5 quarterback matchups around the NFL. So let's get right into it. Devin Singletary is my new favorite player. This will continue to shift throughout this season and beyond. I always have my guys. We'll get to another guy, number 13, down the list here. Another one of my guys. But Devin Singletary, to me, if you've been listening, I've been saying he is the most underrated back in the league. And I may be going a little bit out on a limb saying that, but I truly, as a former has-been quarterback, love what he represents as a halfback. His attitude, his toughness, his ability to show up in big moments. It's all there to me. And I've been sort of advocating for more Devin, more touches for Devin, and more mandatory touches for Devin. And this week we were able to see a little bit more Devin. And I was really happy to see that. But that's not exactly why he's become one of my guys. It goes beyond his performance on the field and the way that he plays the game of football. It was truly solidified this week when the Buffalo Bills put out a mic'd up episode with Devin Singletary. And it was a slow start. I wasn't sure how to feel. He wasn't exactly saying too much in the beginning of the video. Go check it out. I really recommend you check it out. Check it out. But the way he talks on a football field and his character, that is his cartoon character on a football field, is why he is now one of my favorite players. You should go check out the video, but I'm just going to highlight one thing, and it was him calling James Cook J-Baby. Anyone who's been on a team, running backs can be very egotistical. Running backs can be selfish. But if you've got a group of running backs that are willing to share and are supportive, and you've got a guy who's been around for a few years helping a rookie, and when you see James Cook smiling and laughing, and then right after he says, something, J-Baby, he goes on the big run and has his career, I guess, cherry popping moment for James Cook. He finally busted through and was able to break out into the open field and show why Brandon Beane, along with Bleumafia and Bleumafia, are so excited about James Cook. On the other side, as much as I'm advocating for more Devin Singletary, I was extremely satisfied to see James Cook break out in that game. And in the beginning of the year, there were some question marks about who he is and how he feels about being here. There was a lot of jokes about him not smiling. Well, I saw him smiling a lot alongside his teammate in Devin Singletary. So that's just something really, really cool. And I hope to see both of them continue to thrive. Moving on here, number 2, we'll grade Allen and Ken as we do each and every week. Allen, I thought, was extremely productive, and the numbers don't necessarily jump out at you. It wasn't the full Josh Allen experience, but I personally was extremely satisfied just to see the Bills take field goals. I tweeted it out a couple weeks back. Somebody tell this Bills team that a field goal is worth half a touchdown. You're not going to stop this offense. We're going to continue to enter the red zone, green zone, the other side of the field And one thing that I think Allen was finally able to comprehend, and he even said it in the post game, we can be better, but, we still put up 31 points and it was ugly. And it's like, yeah, dude, a field goal is worth half a touchdown. And all this like analytics and shit. I work with analytics on a marketing level at work, and even in marketing, my approach is that there are analytics and then there is human behavior. We can make assumptions based on the analytics, but you don't know what the human behavior is going to be on that user that day. And the same goes for sports, and the same goes for football. You can preach to me why we should go for it here, but there's DNA in the game of football, and that DNA is in the human behavior of the mind game of football. And when you're forcing a defense to run back to their sideline with 3 more points on your board versus them trotting off after a Hail Mary type last ditch effort on 4th down, like in the Vikings game, it's high risk, but it's low reward, because sure, if you get that touchdown, you're really nailing that nail in the coffin. But when something goes awry, it is that much more impactful on the defense's momentum. They now know they can stop you. And by the way, you got 3 less points. So Allen's mind, I'm going to give him an A, because he was finally able to, I think, comprehend a field goal's worth half a touchdown. Mechanics, still going to go with a C+, purely on the touchdown. It's comedic, it's funny, but Jesus Christ, Josh, just put the ball in there. You don't need to be looking through your lumberjack legs upside down. Mechanics, C+. Moxie, still a B+. He didn't do anything too crazy. That was like, he didn't exactly put the team on his back or anything. Big shout out to Dawson Knox for making that difficult catch. I think that really got Josh into the swing of things and broke him out of his like little mini slump. And then on the other side, Dorsey, creativity, B+. I didn't think it had to be that creative, but I liked how the running backs seemed to rotate. I don't know for certain, but it looked a little bit more based on feel and vibe versus just a snap count. I was talking with Brian Law today, and he was sort of talking about the running back rotation a little bit. And I said, it's almost as if the Bills specifically, it doesn't matter what the game flow says. Once that back hits their quota, the next guy's coming in. But whether that happened again or whether that happens at all, I'm not sure. But ultimately, I'd like to see a little bit of flow between the running backs, and I'm still going to ask for Nyheim Hines a little bit more. He looked extremely explosive in the kick return game. So B+ on creativity for Ken. And effectiveness, we're going to go A+, because I just felt as though there was a lot going up against this team, a lot of question marks, the snow, the game being moved. There was just a lot up against this offense, and I thought they executed extremely effectively. And once again, final time I'll say it, field goal worth half touchdown. Number 3 here, moving on, we need to have the Gabe Davis conversation. I've been hearing a lot the last couple of weeks about Gabe Davis not being a number 2 receiver. And I'm going to put it on the record right now that I believe he is 100% a viable number 2 receiver. And everybody is really down on him right now. A couple drops, a couple plays that he hasn't made. But were your hopes not too high for Gabe if him producing like he did in the Cleveland game, is that not enough for you? The one-handed catch, my buddy Maddie immediately said, "You're a professional, drag the toe," my former wide receiver. And I agree, but that doesn't mean he's not a number 2 receiver. Look around the league. Who's a better number 2 receiver? You have T. Higgins. Yes, definitely. Adam Thielen once was, but not anymore. You have the Dolphin twins. Very effective. But find me some other ones. Find me some other number 2 receivers. Devontae Smith from Philadelphia. Maybe more useful. But is he as useful in the blocking game? Is he as useful in the locker room? Does he like Buffalo? People are so quick to write these guys off. And I have been a fan of Gabe Davis since he played with Mackenzie Milton at UCF. He's a hard worker. He's a technician. And there was a quote sent to me before the last game from Patrick Peterson concerning Gabe only running inside routes and basically pointing out the predictability of his role in this offense. And that can be looked at one of two ways. One, he's not a number 2 receiver. Or two, how does he respond? How does he grow? How does Ken Dorsey respond? How does Ken Dorsey start to not be as telling with Gabriel Davis? I'm all set on Odell Beckham. And so is my brother Ryan, which I have to agree with. Number 2 here. Another conversation. I got to stick up for another one of my guys here. Jordan Poyer is a major factor for this defense. And I know that the front line, defensive line, is obviously been invested in. Edmonds, Milano, both outstanding players. But this defense goes as Jordan Poyer goes. And he's a tone setter in the physicality of the game. I had a little conversation on Twitter the other day with, I think it's a Buffalo guy, his name is. I'll look it up quickly as we go. But I said something about how Poyer's he's the only one in the defensive backfield that's not afraid to hit. And this guy's response was, Hamlin hits, so-and-so hits. I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, yeah, those guys all do hit. But who are they looking up to? Benford. And my point is, they weren't hitting like that when Jordan Poyer wasn't out there. Yeah, a Buffalo guy. Shout out. Had a great talk with him. The main man minute, Jeff Main, he's been on this Poyer contract problem for a while. But I just don't know how you don't find a viable contract for him. Does he need to be the highest paid safety in the league? Maybe not. Maybe he doesn't need to set the tone for what safeties are going to get paid moving forward. But he needs to be in Buffalo because, in my opinion, he sets the tone for this defense and he sets the tone for the culture of this DNA of this team. And, to be honest, he kind of carries Tremaine Edmonds' jock in the run game. Just watch the run defense when Poyer's in there versus him not being in there. Somebody can send me some analytics if they want. I'll look at them. But the human behavior says when Jordan Poyer is behind that front line and that second line, they all play with their hair on fire. They all play at a different level, and that's just confidence. That's just teammate confidence driven from a teammate and a leader. Speaking of confidence and teammates and leaders, we have a little bit of a tin hat corner. It was brought to my attention that someone close to the Bleumafia family, unnamed source, had a little bit of a tin hat controversial take. And Trey White is a big mystery right now. Nobody knows why he's not out there. Is he not ready mentally? Is he not ready physically? Does he just not feel like Trey? He looks like Trey. He acts like Trey. When's he going to play? Well, Tin Hat Corner over here, we've got a theory. And that is there could potentially be some opiate addiction involved, which would be extremely unfortunate. But it crossed my mind earlier this afternoon when it was brought across the Bleumafia desk. And you hate to see it, but it's an inquiry. It's certainly something that I'm willing to consider because it's certainly questionable. And lastly, number one, tomorrow's Thanksgiving. I put something on Facebook this week on Monday. Why not be thankful for something every day this week, not just Thanksgiving? Because we're certainly going to have enough to be thankful for with the game and the food and the family. But I figured I'd throw a couple things I'm thankful for. One, thankful that this team is a true football team. They're not a sports franchise. They're not one of these like content, though the content has been extremely entertaining. They're not one of these like fake content teams in terms of putting out a bunch of like hype stuff when they're really not that good. I'm thankful that Sean McDermott is able to reach these adults, these adult men that are just getting paid millions of dollars. He's still able to reach them, as we saw Stephon Diggs and him last week. I'm certainly thankful for Josh Allen and my brother Ryan. I know he is as well. I was talking to him earlier, and I mentioned, is there anything you want to add to the pod? I'm going to be shooting one later. And one thing was he does not want Odell Beckham, but he also said, what more do you want? Josh Allen, top 3 quarterback. He's had maybe 3 to 5 bad interceptions outside of that, but Allen has been Allen. And would you rather have the situation that you're seeing in New York? And I have to agree with him there. It's been a certainly odd Bills Mafia experience with the Josh Allen experience mixed. But I'm certainly thankful for Josh Allen. Not so thankful for the artificiality and the hypocrisy of Bills Mafia. So we'll keep making fun of him until the day I die. But not saying don't be a Bills Mafia member. But I'm starting to pick up on something here. I'm watching the game in Detroit, and I'm thinking, these people can't all be from Buffalo. These people can't all be people that moved from Buffalo to another place. Are the Bills the new Seahawks of the NFL? I guess the ratings will say it tomorrow. Maybe they'll break another record. But I'll give you my final prediction, as always, before the game tomorrow morning. Give you my notes and my book it prediction. Been pretty close on that. Also been pretty close on the implications picks. We went 4-1 last week. Almost hit the parlay. But on the bright side, I think that makes us 24-16. So stick around for the other side. We got the implications. Come right up. We got a couple good games tomorrow. Couple real good games. One of them does make the list. We don't usually put the Bills on the NFL implications because we like to show depth here. We're not only Bills fans here. We're fans of the game, fans of football, fans of quarterbacking. So that's why we do the top 5 QB matchups every week. Coming in at number 1, we got Danny Dimes and Brian Porkrind's Dable taking on Dakota Prescott. Big implications. NFC East, Giants back against the wall despite an 8-1 start, now sit at 8-2. And all of a sudden, nobody believes in Danny and Dable. And on the other side, everybody all of a sudden, after an explosive game versus a tired, beat-up Vikings team without their D-line, Parsons went limping off, and I thought to myself, well, that would really suck if he got hurt, but why do you have him in? It's 40-7 or something like that. Everybody's on the Cowboys. To me, if you ask me, Cowboys gonna Cowboys. And I don't trust Dakota. The run game's all good and dandy on a regular season game at 4 on Fox. But once it comes to the playoffs, I just don't trust Dakota. Sorry. I hope that they get Odell Beckham so that he doesn't come to Buffalo and everyone can just shut the beep up. Number 2, we got Joey Bags. Burrow getting hot, finishing strong, and ruining last week's parlay by 7 points over the surprisingly testy Kenny Pickett. But Bags returns with his college roommate, Jamar Chase. And when he's on the field, obviously Burrow is a completely different competitor, but he showed some toughness last week in the Steelers game. And he's going to be needing to be tough in another tough AFC game versus the Tanny Titans. The Tannehill Titans are tough because they have King Henry as always. But Treylon Burks, rookie out of Arkansas, drafted him coming out, and he didn't do anything yet. But last week he had a really big game, and I think that he's finally going to be able to slide in. He had a little bit of an injury, but I'm still a big fan of Treylon Burks. And that one's going to be probably boring, but good, tough football. And I think that's what's going to be coming back is good, tough 80s football. Because tough teams win. Number 3, couple tough teams, not talented teams. Toughness does get you a couple victories in the NFL, though, in the men's league. Marcus Mariota still hanging on to his starting position with no real offensive running back other than Cordell Patterson, who broke the record last week for most kick returns. He takes on Heine Boy, who's on a tear still, not doing much in terms of big explosive numbers, but really managing the game and bringing game managers back. Both of these guys. Probably thought Mariota would be a little more explosive in the league, but he's been pretty solid, and I like what they're doing in Atlanta, and I'm sure he's grooming that young quarterback, Spencer Ritter. But that one has implications because the Washington Commanders are in the playoff race in that really tough NFC East, and if they can continue on this run, the Giants are starting to falter. If the Cowboys win, then Washington's in an even better position. And the Falcons are second in the division behind Tom Brady, with the Saints one game behind them. But one of those teams is in that NFC South is going to make the playoffs, and it still could be Marcus Mariota. So we're going to have our eye on that. Number 4, Herbie, tough loss last week. Lost me the fantasy game because of Kelsey. Really tough year in the OG League, 4-7, but we have a 27% chance of still making the playoffs. Don't let me in them playoffs. Don't let me in there. 10-1 in the family league, though. Kind of feel bad about that. Herbie taking on Kyler, question mark. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? Is he going to play video games? Colt McCoy went out there looking like a guy who was like in Afghanistan for 10 years. I mean, Colt, I know that you're like old, but cheer up, bud. You're an NFL quarterback. I thought that's what you wanted to do your whole life. I don't know why that guy looks so sad. Put McSorley in. If Colt doesn't want to be out there, put my guy Trace, the Nittany Lion, McSorley in. I don't know if Kyler's playing or not, but if I was Cliff Kingsbury, I'd be like, fuck you both. McSorley, you're up. Let's go. He came in and had an awesome throw, and then they, had a down out, and it was kind of game over. But love Trace McSorley here on Bleumafia. Herbie, come on, man. Finish one. Finish one off. They should still make the playoffs. That defense is tough, but I'm so sick of Kelsey and Mahomes. So sick of it. Can someone please lay a lick on Kelsey? Come on. Number 5, possibly the last 2022 visit for one Sir Air Raj. The Packers need to win out to have any opportunity at the playoffs. So this one still has implications for this year's playoffs, but it also has major implications because this really could be the end of the Aaron Rodgers Packers era, maybe the end of his NFL career. Maybe he comes back to play for like the 49ers or something next year. But if they lose, I think they're pretty much out of the playoffs. And on the other side, Jalen Hurts still tearing it up. Not too sexy of numbers, but was able to finish it off last week in Indy. And just a quick shout out to Nick Sirianni. He's the best. And he caught some heat for running over and screaming into the sidelines. But after it all came out that he was actually screaming, that's for Frank Reich. That's pretty cool. Sirianni was clear that Reich made a huge difference to him, and he went out of his way to say that that was for Frank Reich. So that's pretty cool. So let's pick these so we can get you out of here so you can get your stuffing ready. Danny versus Dak. It's in the Cowboys Stadium. Does Dable really have it? I think Dable is going to make it interesting. I think Saquon is tough. But the Cowboys defense is pretty tough, and I just have a feeling they're going to pick off Danny like 2-3 times. So I'm going Dak. Number 2, Joey Bags at Tennessee, at King Henry and Tanny. Tennessee is tough at home. I don't know if Jamar Chase playing should impact that a lot, though. Does Bags get out in front? If they get out in front, then it's pretty much game over because Tanny's not coming back. I think I got to go Joey Bags on the road there. Tough one. Marcus at Heine. Heine's been hot. Does he have a shit game in him, or does he just continue to play this consistent style? Heine at home. Falcons are tough. I got to go Heine. I got to stick with the Heine train. He's too contagious. Herbie at ? Herbie. 5, A-Rod. It's in Philly. Philly's really good. A-Rod's definitely going to be an underdog. We're riding it, baby. A-Rod stays alive for one more week. Thankful for being alive here for one more week. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the pregame dump tomorrow morning at Bleumafia.com. Remember to follow me, like, subscribe, tell your friends. Do all that good stuff. I really appreciate it, though. Thank you, guys. Love you.